I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Good morning, Scott Duff.
Good morning, Ellen Miller.
Spring is in the air.
It is. Is it?
I think it is.
All right. I appreciate your optimism. I can go for some optimism these days because
I know.
It's like, aren't we supposed to get snow tomorrow?
If so, I've ignored that.
Okay.
Let's see. Tomorrow, 70. Mine says 45 and cloudy.
Okay, great.
That's what my
cool. Let's go with that.
Apple phone says.
Let us go with that. Let's go with that. Thank you.
Right now it's 65. That feels springy to me.
It does feel springy out there. I wore a gingham blouse today to make it feel like we're at a picnic.
I wore my protest shirt.
There we go. Rise, resist, persist, repeat. Perfection. Hey, it's a good day to do that, too.
Yes, it is.
Because, just a reminder, Trans Up Front Illinois, in partnership with Indivisible Chicago, they're organizing a big rally today at Federal Plaza at 1 o'clock for demanding justice, equality, and recognition for transgender and non-binary individuals. Again, that starts at 1 o'clock down at Federal Plaza.
Time to get there. Listen to the show and then run out and get over there.
You can even listen to it on your
phone.
iTunes, on your TuneIn, not iTunes, on your TuneIn app.
On your phone.
Right there.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can do that on your way down. Actually, we have... a friend of mine is going to be down there, and she has agreed to speak with us. We're going to check in with her in the second hour of the show as the crowds are assembling, just to kind of get the vibe of the place.
Excellent.
And
That'd be cool.
And just to get some one-on, firsthand, why are you doing this? What is, what's bringing you out to the streets? It's so interesting. I can't keep that. Well, let me tell you about what's going on the show today, too, because we've got a really good one. First of all, tell everybody on your group chat to tune in and then use a little firebomb, a little emoji and everything.
And a fist.
Oh, yeah, and put a little queer flag in there or trans flag or whatever flag you want to put in there. But make sure you send it to the group chat and make sure that it's open to everybody. Chicago Therapy Collective is observing this year's Trans Day of Visibility by offering a safer space for all to share stories, learn from each other, and uplift trans voices and trans joy. The event is Share Your Voice and Move Your Body. It's going to be tomorrow, March 31st. Can't believe we're at the end of March. Crazy.
We are.
It's going to be at the Bramble Arts Loft in Andersonville. And Silas Leslie, Advocacy and Community Engagement Manager for Chicago Therapy Collective, is going to be joining us later on this hour. And Steppenwolf's Lookout series celebrates the return of its curatorial residency program. Celebrated drag artist and self-proclaimed Bollywood Barbie, Abhijit is one of the creative forces behind Dream Devis, a queer celebration of the feminine archetype in Indian cinema and an exploration of worshiping and being worshipped. Fascinating.
Very.
I love Bollywood too. And we chat with Abhijit in the second hour. And of course, we would always love to hear from you. So please give us a call at 773-763-9278. The number again is 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us on Facebook where we're coming at you live. Just head on over to Out Chicago Radio and give us a click and a like and a share. But if that doesn't float your boat, you can always tune in on WCPT AM 820. You can tune in on heartlandsignal.com/OutChicago. While you're at it, follow everybody on all the socials. All the socials, all that good stuff. Again, WCPT and our sister network, Heartland Signal. It's so funny because we were just talking about getting to the streets, and I was reminded there's something so very Greek tragedy. I'm going to be a theater nerd for just a second because it just popped into my head. Sure. So, when I was studying, when we were getting into finally scene studies in acting class in college, we started with Greek drama. And which I know everyone's like,
it all starts with Greek.
That's where it all began.
That's where it began.
Thank you. We thank your people.
Thank my people.
We thank your people so much.
Thank you.
But, in Greek drama, everyone's kind of like, poor. It's I love it. I love Greek tragedies. I think they're amazing. but mostly because of how they are constructed. And usually, you have your protagonist, your antagonist, all these people, but then there's always a chorus of people that are involved.
Right.
And a chorus is made up of individuals within a community that something has driven them to come out and to be witness to something. Like that, and that is what it feels like. This feels very Greek, like what is the motivation? What is it going to take that makes you step out and join this chorus of voices to be heard, to see what's happening? And I don't know.
Well, it's a good analogy. And I think there are plenty of things that are happening that are making people want to step out.
There are, including today again, Trans Up Front, Illinois, at Federal Plaza at 1 o'clock. Anyway, sorry, that's my little nerdy theater thing.
That's a good thought.
I can go in further. I will go in further later on with this. But how are you doing? How was your week?
My week was good. I'm still recovering a little from cataract surgery, but I went out.
Oh yeah, you don't have your cool glasses on today.
No, I don't have those. I got dismissed from wearing
Terminator
those.
glasses.
Yeah, those are gone.
Yeah.
But anyway, Scott, we talk about it all the time. The embarrassment of riches that this city offers us culturally.
Oh yeah.
And forget it. Besides the bubble that we're in, that we love, that we're staying in right now. Kathy and I had the opportunity to go out and see some really great art, both musical and in the painting variety. We were out Friday night. A dear friend of ours, Donna Tatelman, she hadn't done a show in many, many years, well over a decade. She did a show called Pivot. And just beautiful artwork. She's been working on it for quite a while.
Is this a visual art?
Visual art, okay, yeah, it's visual art. And really, I love this. This one right here is like, this is kind of her thing. But great art opening. And then we used to go to those art openings when we were young. We used to go to the Friday night art openings. Well, it was free wine. And
yeah. Well, where is this?
This one was at the Firecat Project, which is 2019 North Damon.
Okay.
And it's a small space, but intimate, and it was a lot of fun people there. And we were invited to the after party. Some fabulous gay men lived right around the corner through the alley, had a beautiful home that we went to, and we didn't know how long we'd be there. Of course, we could have been there all night, but met some great people. Among those was a couple named Richard and Bruce, they're from Skokie. They lived around the corner from each other as boys. Their mothers knew each other. They have been together since 1980.
What? Wow.
They're like 24 and 27 when they met.
Okay, now you're getting where their ages now.
Yeah, well, but I love it, and they're big CPT listeners.
Come on now.
But they were not familiar with our show, so they promised they're listening. So I promised you a shout out. And Richard and Bruce. Richard is a professor at the Art Institute, and Bruce does beautiful restorative artwork. They're really great guys. Everybody we met was great. So that was Friday night.
Wait, quick question before you move on. Is the showing? Is
the show goes until May 18th.
Oh, great!
It's on now. It started Friday night until May 18th. Beautiful pieces, small pieces, large pieces. Of course, my favorite is the $5,000 piece.
Of course,
that's my favorite.
Yeah, because you've got taste.
But there's $75 pieces.
So is it primarily like painting, or is it sculptural?
It's painting. Okay,
you were just looking. You were using your hands. And I was like, thinking a little sculpture.
It's all painting. And Donna used to do more of a still life for a long time, beautiful still lifes, but now she's kind of branched into this.
More of like a graphic visual kind of interpretive kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. So
actually, that one image that you saw reminded me of David Lee Sisko, who does all of he's worked with Owen Keenan on the LGBT history books.
Yes.
If you ever bought a Mariano's bag, all the artwork that's on there,
I didn't know that.
There's the big. He's actually all of his work is it's at the Belmont L.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of that, the bold quality, the bright colors, the sort of There's a certain kind of vibe and an energy behind it. I sound so pretentious.
I love that. You should have gone.
I should have gone. I know.
And then so we had art on Friday, and last night at the. It's called the Reva and David Logan Center for the Arts. It's in Hyde Park. Second time we ventured into Hyde Park in the last year. There's so much happening down there.
I love Hyde Park. It's amazing.
Beautiful area, both architecturally and spiritually. And there was a show that my friend Matthew Scholar, who's a longtime harmonica friend and was one of my original harmonica teachers, he curated it. It was with an African kora player. The kora is like this instrument that has a big kind of gourd, bulbous bottom and stringed like almost a harp. And very few women play it. And she is beautiful inside and out. I mean, her performance was great. She's with a fantastic band of musicians. I love African music. But more importantly, she's teaching about, she has a school in Africa, and she is teaching about women empowerment, and also talked about had a song that we all sing and wanted the men to sing it too, because we need our allies. We need the men to also be a part of the empowerment of women.
Oh, yeah,
and I didn't expect any of that at this show, but it was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The music was great. The opening act was a guy I've seen before. He's a Cajun Zydeco player named Cedric Watson, originally from Louisiana. I think he said he lives in Florida now, also with a great band. An embarrassment of riches. Just a beautiful night. We got to meet her afterwards. We got to meet, her name is Sona Jobarte. It's, Sona Jobarte. And her son, 18-year-old son, played this beautiful kind of it's almost like a xylophone, more of a rustic African instrument. What a great player he is, and a great young man. And she talked about the school that she has and how important it is to teach not what the colonizers want the African people to learn, but what their culture teaches them.
Yeah.
She said we have two, they go to school and they learn one thing, and they come home and learn something else, and the something else at home really should take precedence. So just a great weekend all around.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I feel very lucky, very blessed to have seen and heard the things I heard.
That's really powerful too right now, like that lesson, like what she was talking about, you know, because we're dealing with that right now.
We're dealing with it here, and about
the country,
learning the past and not repeating it.
But also, again, how history is written by the victors.
And she said those very words. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and and then let's look at what's going on with the Smithsonian. And let's look at, everything.
Every day there's something
new
horrible
going on there.
Yeah. But she's from Gambia, and she's at a school in Gambia. I asked where she lived. I asked because we were in the green room afterwards, and she was upstairs signing. The line was like an hour long to meet her.
Fabulous.
And she said, she has a school in Gambia, which she goes to quite often, but she's really just traveling with her message. She lives just traveling,
All
which
right.
is. So there's people out there that are giving their lives. It's their life's work, not only to perform for you and entertain you, but also to get a message across. That's
artivism.
Really artivism. Yes,
artivism. That's what it is. It is activism through your art.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
And then for fun, we got the NCAA pool. Paul, we have Paul in today for Devin. Devin didn't play. Scott didn't play, but Paul and I, of course, are.
Noticeably, lower amount of people playing this year.
I know. What the heck? Come on, people.
Is it the tournament? Is it just like a lack of? Right. Yeah. So there you go. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's the more the merrier, but but that keeps it.
Look, there's enough madness in the world before we go into March Madness. You know what I mean? But
this is good kind of madness.
It is a good kind of madness.
Fun kind of madness.
Sure, it's fun.
It's been all the number one seeds. I usually never pick. I always try and pick upsets.
Yeah.
And this time I really did pick mainly favorites, and
the favorites have been decent this year. It's
they're
been
all in
chalk for the most part.
The top four are all in it. So.
I had a lot of upsets that just didn't happen.
Yeah, I gave up on upsets. So we'll see what happens. We'll see.
That last 30 seconds was just like French. Like, I don't understand
Go
what you're
Houston.
saying.
We talk baseball, too. Are you going to the Cubs home opener?
I don't have a ticket yet, but I always try and find one, and I do have it on my schedule, blocked off, if possible.
Isn't that coming out? Not this week.
I'm sorry, Scott.
The Cubs are Fridays. They're home opener.
Yeah, it's coming.
Home opener.
Yeah, it opened last week.
They had an international.
It was on Thursday. It was the first day. It was opening day.
Very good. Well, they had an international opener in Japan almost 2 weeks ago. Then they had the domestic, which I think was ridiculous because they opened in Japan and then they came back and did spring training again for a week and a half.
And then stayed west to start their season.
So yes, baseball is here, and it's baseball.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
I love my baseball.
I don't, because where I go get my haircut is near Wrigley Field, and I always have to check on the day, like, is there a game?
Check. Yeah, you do have to check.
Before I make an appointment, I have a very limited time and very limited hair, to be frankly. Like, my hair is quickly receding, and I need to, like, I gotta make it, there's upkeep that needs to happen with it, and every time I'm like, all right, I've got this window, and I'm like, damn it. Like, I have to figure out when, even if it's like a game.
Hair appointment, Wrigleyville, 1:30 on like a Friday. Nope, not doing it.
Not good.
Unless it's an away game. And then we're all in.
And, when we schedule, if we have showings, with real estate showings, it's like, okay, let me look at the Cubs schedule because, between parking and craziness, open houses.
You don't want to show off a condo while millions of people are trekking through the neighborhood. And
Negatory.
How about after a game?
Nope.
That's the part that's even worse. It really is.
It's worse.
It really is. And I'm going to say, it's like, if you want to see the example of white privilege, get on the red line at Addison after a game. It's awful.
Or just take it from north to south on like a Friday afternoon.
There we are. Anyway. I had this whole thing about artivism. It's going to be kind of weird to throw in there. So why don't we take a break?
All right.
How do I do that?
Let's do it.
Come in and we'll talk about that. Oh, also, because you had your run-in with Bruce and Richard.
Bruce and Richard.
I also had a run-in with a CPT listener, especially an Out Chicago listener. I think her name was Jessica.
I think you said Jessica.
I did say Jessica, but
we'll call her Jessica.
We're going to call her Jessica just because my little lizard brain can't hold on to too many facts.
She's a regular listener.
She was like somebody just coming through, like
the line.
I was at the snack factory.
Yeah.
Look, friends, if you're at the snack factory and you see me, please just say hi.
Don't hesitate. It's
great. And also, I love it. Are you kidding me? It's great. But Jessica she's like, I've been through your line a couple times and I've never said anything, but I just want to say I really like the show. I'm like, well, thank you so much. It's so great to know that people are actually out there listening.
Yes.
Which is wonderful.
Always great.
Always great. So, Jessica, thank you so much. Also, on the same day, I had somebody ask, he's like, are you an actor? I'm like, I am. He's like, were you on Chicago PD? I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. He's like, I was a grip on that, and I remember you. I'm like,
wow.
I know.
Such an impression.
Is it a really good thing or a bad thing?
It's a great thing, Mr. Jones.
It could be a bad thing.
Shut up, Paul. It's a good thing. Mr. Jones lives on. Dick Wolf, do you hear? The people are clamoring for more. Mr. Jones. We need Chicago. Neighborhood Watch. The Mr. Jones Chronicles. That is what we need. That is what we need. But we also need to pay for some things. So before we go, this part about Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. Hey, attention listeners, financial planners, CPAs, and divorce attorneys. If you are wondering why your mortgage professional has not returned your calls, it's probably because they're on a group chat. Sending out stuff. Or they're one of over 165,000 mortgage professionals who didn't renew their license over the past 24 months. So if you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. In the past 24 months, while other companies have been shutting down and loan officers are not renewing their licenses, Team Hochberg has been adding loan officers, is stronger than ever, and would love to earn your business. Now let's review. In the past 24 months, mortgage companies have closed and over 165,000 loan officers exited the mortgage business, while Team Hochberg has expanded and is stronger than ever, like a waistband. Like elastic waistband on your briefs. If you like to work with experienced mortgage professionals, like a brief, call Team Hochberg now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. The number again is 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, there is more Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'm Marlon Pugh.
I'm Tamale Sepp.
I'm Krista Atkinson.
And Amy Eisenberg's here in spirit.
We're JDA Comedy.
Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, rolling along here. Hey, just again, a reminder, there is a march today down at Federal Plaza at 1 o'clock. It's by Trans Up Front Illinois and Indivisible Chicago, and a host a host of other organizations sponsoring it, and it is for justice, equality, and recognition for transgender and non-binary folks. So get out there, get your voices heard.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, it's important, for everything. I had my own artivism moment this weekend. I was a part of the Regeneration Studio with About Face Theater.
Oh, yesterday at the Goodman.
At the Goodman, yeah.
How did it go?
It went really, really well, and it was fabulous. Our Eric Thomas, he's a playwright. We've actually had him on the show, several years back.
Yeah.
Time is on our side. I think the play was Time is on Our Side or something. I can't remember. Oh no. But he's become the new advice columnist for the Tribune.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, I know. He's a syndicated column. He's fabulous. But the play that they workshopped 3 new plays. I think 2 were local playwrights. Eric Thomas has a little more fancy on him. Was a part of that. And the play it's called An Army of Lovers. And it is about... it takes place in a corporate-owned city. So, like Disney or all these things where they come in, and it's set in the not-too-distant future, like 2029. And it's about, and it's this group of people who are trying to organize this pride event for this corporation. But it's like, when you live there, like they keep describing as like there are no people here, there are employees, not people. There's things there. You're talking about 24-hour surveillance.
Very dystopian.
It's a little dystopian, but and also it's like it's not too far away. All of these devices that we have that are listening in. How often do you start talking about flower pots? No, I'm
not going to. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe the phone is listening. I do not believe it.
Okay, well then you are sorely mistaken. You are, yes, because
you may Google something, or you may look something up.
That is very true.
No, and that's where how did they know that? Well, because you Googled it a couple days ago, and now it's. I do not believe the phone is listening.
Well, I think then I will take your optimism. I'm not paranoid about it. But there are many, many times where I've gone out to a party or gone out to dinner or something, and we talk about something that I have not Googled, and it will show up. Just saying. But in this play, just take it, then step away from that for a second, Ellen. Let go of that bone.
I will.
And it was all about bringing in an elder activist to come to speak to this thing, and it's all about like digitization versus actually holding on to something, and what does it mean? Like everything was staged for this pride event thing. It looks at surveillance. It looks at a corporate reality. It talks about like what you get, what you have to sacrifice, for like insurance or whatever. And it's a really powerful play, and it's primarily a black cast, and it explores the intersection of blackness and queerness, what it means to be like a woman, a cis woman. It's a chewy play.
No stone left unturned.
Yeah.
The surveillance. I mean, look at China. I mean, that's a model right there. I mean, that's real surveillance.
Oh yeah. Well, look at where we're. I think we are more surveilled than you think we are.
Yeah, we definitely are surveilled. I'm not,
we have smart speakers in our homes. We have phones. We have things. The fact that like my smart speaker knows that it's me and not Jerry. It's weird. It's like it's odd. But anyway. I'm just saying. So it was a really wonderful thing, and I want to thank About Face Theater.
Congratulations on a successful endeavor there.
It was great, and it really it was a lovely time to explore queer stories, to explore all of these narratives and these ideas, because we have to keep them going, because like they were like the artist that you saw in Hyde Park, it's like history is told by the victors, and voices are being silenced right now, and we have to make sure that we get out the truth that's going on there.
And adding on to that, I have been noticing, and this is like a fine line of, but people are starting to get a little paranoid when we read these stories about, generally these people are people that aren't U.S. citizens like we are, but, people that have green cards that might have expired, that are coming back into the country, having their phones looked at, being detained. This is scaring people to the point where and I don't want to get into specifics, but a couple friends of mine that are in the arts are worried about their message of, anti-Trump, anti-Putin, anti-establishment of what we have going on in the government right now coming back to bite them. And it's a fine line between, I'm not going to be silenced. Okay, we're on the radio here. We're saying things that we believe that obviously are contrary to what the current administration believes. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be silenced by fear at this. I'm not going to be.
No, me either.
But there are a lot of people that I've been talking to who are starting to get paranoid. A lot of this. What's happening, and I understand it.
And that's also part of the game.
And that is part of the game.
That is the thing. So they overwhelm people, and people get freaked out and get fearful.
I mean, this is, I was in Cuba in 1995, Scott. Which shouldn't have been there. I snuck over with some friends from the Cayman Islands. We thought it'd be a fun thing to do. But anyway, that's another story for them. But, people were afraid to speak out because they're worried their families would be killed. They're worried that they would be killed. Mm-hmm. And I don't want us to go down that road. I don't want us to feel that we can't say what we truly believe, whether it's on social media, whether it's on the telephone, whether it's out at a demonstration. So, I'm encouraging people, let's not go there yet.
But you see, we're slowly getting there.
But what are we going to do?
That's the thing. Look at that tough student.
Exactly.
People are being disappeared,
But we have to speak up about it.
We do have to speak up about it, but they're still coming for people. You know what I mean?
I know.
That's the thing. And they're coming for people who are not white.
Yeah, they sure are. And students. I mean, students. I mean, that's just heart-wrenching. I mean, and people that have been picked up on these immigrant gathering of these poor, people from Venezuela. Innocents are caught up in it. I saw a poll today on one of the morning news shows that said that Republicans, they asked the question, are you concerned if some innocents get caught up into the deportations? And no. Not that concerned.
Who were they?
Republicans.
Republicans
they broke it up to independents, Democrats. Of course, independents and Democrats, yes, were very concerned.
Yeah.
But Republicans were not. You know what? This is becoming a party of cruelty.
Yeah.
This is it's really found its footing. Let's put it that way.
There we are, yeah.
Because to have people look the other way on this. To still, I've heard someone say, well, my dad he doesn't like Trump, but he likes his policies. And the policies that I read, that the ones that they like the most, they don't like the economic policies, but they're all thrilled about the immigrant, the immigration policies, the deportations. I want to cry about these deportations because it's not due process. It is not what we're about. And the more I see them get away with it, the more I worry about what's next.
Yeah. Well, it's that whole thing, first they came for the communists and I didn't say anything because I'm not a communist.
Yeah,
and first, that whole
poem
thing
is in my mind, yes.
It should be on the floor of everybody's mind right here. And the thing that's really freaky is all of these policies that are happening. They want to everything is, let's go back to the states. The states are, I think Republican states are going to be affected more by all these cuts and these Social Security.
There's no question about it.
Girl, I am so worried about Social Security.
I'm going to start taking it next year.
Well, I'm not, because it won't be there.
Well, I don't know if people telling me they can't even get on the phone. They can't get to anybody.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. I mean, clearly, this whole week, it really is spin the wheel of misfortune and see what you got. You have America's top security people who are just having a chat on an unsecured app.
Brofest.
Which is, of course, Signalgate. That's been kind of going.
And they lie. Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, did you see the looks on their faces? Patel, he's
Patel always has he's got crazy eyes. He looks out of his eyeballs in a very
eyes are the window to the soul.
I know. And Chelsea Gabbard just is dead.
Oh, they were,
there,
yeah.
Can
you imagine? I mean, we saw how they reacted when Hillary Clinton's email and Hunter Biden's laptop, all this nonsense. Now they're like, oh, it was just a mistake. We could have lost our service people. We could have lost quite a bit here, yet they're willing to. It's such a hypocrisy. It's all about hypocrisy.
Well, it's hypocrisy on both sides in terms of that, because when the GOP was outraged by Hillary Clinton using a private server, which admittedly she should not have been doing,
right? And right
there, so they were all outraged, and now we're all outraged. You know what I mean? There's a little bit on both, because we were like, no, she just didn't do anything. Blah blah blah.
I don't know if there was a specific.
This is true. Yes. No, I'm with you.
Had happened here. These war plans.
Please don't get it confused that I am defending what's going on. Because it's look, they're all saying, but nothing happened. The mission went off. It was a success. We did everything okay. It's but it could have gone off the rails at any second. Any second, compromising things. And this begs the question, how many other chats are out there that didn't accidentally include
plenty?
The Atlantic editor-in-chief.
They didn't even have that many people on the call. They didn't even realize there was a number on there that was unrecognizable.
Yeah, it's just strange.
Well, Pete Hegseth is he's deplorable. He is so unqualified and incapable of that position.
Oh, and then people getting flack. I forget which person asked the question about was he drinking? And people are like, you can't, how dare you? It's well, no, clearly there have been reports of this man. He was charged with sexual assault. He said he denies everything. He settled out of court for this woman. There have been many reports of him showing up intoxicated or under the influence of alcohol.
Yep.
He has been let go from several nonprofit organizations that he did not do very well in. There's also been weird things about taking people. I think there was a story about a strip club kind of situation.
I think I might have heard something about that.
Yeah. So
of course,
I know. So it's
horrible. He was on Fox and Friends on the weekend, and Trump loves
also,
TV.
Can I tell you? Every time they keep bringing it up, they're like, "Yeah, he was a weekend host on Fox," and I'm going "I'm a weekend host."
Make you Department of I don't know what.
I know. I keep going wait, we're on the weekend. That doesn't mean we're not important. But it's everything is just so kind of wackadoodle. Screwy. You've got that whole Signalgate thing that's been going on all week. You've got this weird Vance in Greenland.
Oh, I'm rooting for the people of Greenland. I love this. We all are. I'm rooting for Canada. I'm rooting the signs that they were holding up. I'm yes, stay. Someone told me they knocked on, I don't know, you can't believe everything here, but somebody said that they saw a news report where they literally went door to door to ask for a family to come meet with him. And
they said no.
Nobody
all
did
the businesses said no.
Nobody wanted to have any part of it.
Yeah. And it was supposed to be, a little PR moment for Vance's wife and kid to go on some sort of dog sled thing.
Yeah.
But nobody would take them, and they weren't officially invited, so they had to limit it to an Air Force base. And they spent 3 hours, and Dum Dum brought a parka. No gloves, no hat, to Greenland.
Yeah.
Okay, I know there's Greenland, and then there's Iceland. They named Greenland to get people to go there because there is no green, because it's mostly ice. That's kind of how it happened. Yeah. It's cold there. It was -3 when he stepped off the plane. He's like, whoa, well, go warm up with the couch. That'll be fine.
Worst of the worst. Warm up with the couch.
It's just go snuggle up
friction,
there.
There you go. Warmer
and then you got stupid Kristi Noem, who is just repugnant. Just repugnant. Shooting little videos in that prison.
In front of those prisoners. That commercial is bad enough that she's running.
Yeah, it is.
That they're running. We're running. We're running with our money.
It is awful.
Awful.
It is.
Like I said,
awful.
That party is cruel.
I don't know. They are cruel. And they just do you see these people back there who are suffering?
You could be next if you don't give yourself up.
It's just...
It's not bananas. Who are we becoming? What is this country becoming to the world? There's a lot of us that see what it is. There's a bunch of others that just apparently don't care or don't care to learn.
I know
what's going on.
They don't. Yeah, these are
deep
weird
breaths.
I know, I'm trying to do deep breaths.
Okay.
Trying to breathe.
But there are things that we can do. There are marches happening. There's one on the 5th. There's a big one next weekend on Saturday. There's the trans today, visibility. There was, I don't know how the Tesla thing went yesterday. I guess it was a nationwide Tesla
There were a
boycott.
bunch of Tesla things, and from what I could gather, I didn't do a real deep dive and everything, but like people went and they disturbed, and people are like, why are you picking on Teslas? It's like, well, aren't you upset about all the other cars that get vandalized? Is this an all cars matter? Kind of vibe? Is it just Tesla? People have the right to get out there and say something. And here's the thing that I think that it's barely been 2 months. That's the part that's just like,
I've aged 200 years.
Dear Lord, I think we all have, but it's barely been 2 months.
Yeah.
And I think, we've talked about a lot of people have fatigue, especially people who are just dyed-in-the-wool activists.
And that is exactly what they want.
But here's the thing. That is exactly what they want. And people are still showing up. And that, to me, is the most important thing. We all think they're the historic Women's March, where we had, I forget how many people were downtown on, January 21st of 2017. There was, protests all over the place, and they were there like, they don't really do anything. It's like, well, no, what they do, they give hope. They give people, they let other people know who like, you know what, I think about that all the time. And they see that those, even if it's just dozens of people, just show up. It's like, oh, there are people who understand, who feel like I do, who are scared, who are frightened, who are mad, and who believe in equality, and who believe that we should stand up for our democracy. And that is what I think is very, very powerful about these protests and these marches. I know a lot of people are just jaded, and we're like, nothing happens. It's like, no, it sends a message to the community, to your city, to your state, to your country, and even to the world, because these are being picked up, and to show that people are protesting. And there's a line I want to come back to, the Army of Lovers, the play that I was a part of the reading for by R. Eric Thomas. And there was a quote that really stood out for me during this time. And it's like, but if you won't fight for your own freedom, what will you fight for? What else will you let break your heart? What else will you ask to sustain you? What else will you look to with the question, do I still exist? And that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting right now. We really are fighting for trans people, especially are fighting just for the right to exist, just to be here. And so I think we need to ask these questions and go back to that Greek drama. What is it going to take for you to move out of the house and to take action and to celebrate? And on that, we should probably take a break, but something to think about.
Yes.
What are we going to do?
And there are some signs that people are fighting back.
And there are people
like
who are
what
coming
happened
out
in Louisiana yesterday.
Yes. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
But also, again, do I still exist? The right to exist. And one of the most revolutionary acts that we can have right now is to find joy, and celebration. So when we come back, we are going to be speaking with Silas Leslie from Chicago Therapy Collective, because tomorrow is the Transgender Day of Visibility, where we should be celebrating trans joy. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'm Jay Nair with Tricon Chicago. Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along right here. Hey, tomorrow, March 31st, is Transgender Day of Visibility, a day to celebrate. And stand up and be proud. It's a trans joy. And Chicago Therapy Collective is observing this year's Transgender Day of Visibility by offering a safer space for all to share stories, learn from each other, and uplift uplift trans voices and trans joy. The event is called Shared Your Voice and Move Your Body. It's at the Bramble Arts Loft in Andersonville. Joining us now is Silas Leslie, Advocacy and Community Engagement Manager for Chicago Therapy Collective. Silas, thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to radio meet you.
I know. I love radio meeting people and everything, especially when it comes to something as revolutionary as celebrating trans joy. But before we get into that, can you remind folks, because I'm a huge fan of Chicago Therapy Collective, can you remind folks the mission of Chicago Therapy Collective?
Absolutely. Chicago Therapy Collective is an LGBTQ nonprofit focused on mental health and wellness, specifically of the trans and non-binary communities. We focus on that through therapy services, advocacy, the arts, and training and education.
Yeah, I mean, y'all do just some really great stuff. And right now, I think we all have a very tenuous, or at least I will speak for myself. I have a very tenuous relationship with my mental health right now. These days, it's like there's a lot going on right now. Can you just talk a little bit about like what the vibe is that you're hearing from the community these days?
Yeah, definitely, post-election, there has been an increased need for mental health services for the LGBTQ community. A lot of trans and non-binary people are just scared, to be honest. It's a very scary and uncertain time. So we are focusing on providing mental health services. All of our services are free or sliding scale, so they're accessible. And we're just trying to do our best to make sure the community is taking care of itself.
So, Silas, what kinds of things can you tell these people to ease their mind and make them feel better about what's happening?
Well, I will say, first and foremost, I am not a therapist, despite the name Chicago Therapy Collective. I am the advocacy guy, so this is not mental health advice. Okay. Put that disclaimer there. But I think the thing that, at least for me, that kind of keeps me going as a, non-binary person and as a trans person is knowing there are people doing the work, knowing that there are people out there fighting for trans rights every day, people who are really dedicating themselves to fight back. And I think that action is what helps me sleep at night.
Yeah. Yeah. And last week, oh gosh, their last name is escaping me, but Asher is their first name, and they're part of Trans Upfront Illinois, which is promoting the trans rally that's happening today at 1 o'clock at Federal Plaza. Just saying that again, reminding people throughout the entire show about that. But they reminded us that being an ally is a verb. It is a verb. And if you are saying that you are an ally, you have to show up and be an ally. And I think one of the ways that you can do that, too, is to come be a part of the Share Your Voice and Move Your Body event that is happening tomorrow at the Bramble Arts Loft. Can you tell folks a little bit about what's planned for the event tomorrow? It looks amazing.
Yeah, we're really excited. We've put a lot of work into this and are really looking forward to sharing it with the community. So it goes from 4 to 9 o'clock. We're starting with a community resource fair. So some of our fellow nonprofits will be there. Chicago House will have their testing van, so they'll be doing free STI testing. Then we're going to move at 5 o'clock to our town hall. I'm the moderator of the town hall, so personally, I'm just very excited about that part.
You should be very excited about it, because this lineup is cuckoo bananas. I'm like, whoa. Sorry, tell everybody. I'm very excited. Didn't interrupt you.
No, we're really excited and really appreciative of the folks that we have, attending. So we have state representatives, state senators, alder people. We have representatives from Equality Illinois, Lambda Legal, Transformative Justice Law Project. So it's, really people, once again, who are doing the work and supporting the community. And we are focusing on sort of the state of trans rights in Illinois and kind of what's happening now to kind of preserve the rights we have. What are we doing moving forward to be proactive instead of just reactionary with, our policies? Also, how are we preparing for, the people who are coming to Illinois and Chicago, as essentially refugees from states with transphobic laws? So we'll be getting into some really pertinent stuff. We'll also be talking about things like identity documents. So a lot of folks are scared about getting their passport right now and having the correct gender marker on it. So we're going to be talking about some things that are, I think, significant concerns within the community.
Yeah. So just a quick question about this. So it is a town hall, and folks are able to come now. There have been town halls all over the country right now that some have been very disruptive, which go for it. This seems to be like, will you be taking questions from like the people? Because the panel is comprised of many elected officials. And as you have said, they are fighting for us right now, and they are fighting for trans folks really hard. Will people be able to, ask questions, of course, respectfully, or is this more of just a panel discussion?
Yeah, so when folks register on our Eventbrite, they are able to submit a question. So a lot of the initial discussion will be sort of driven by those questions that have been submitted by people who have registered. And then also, we'll do sort of Q&A sort of discussion, and then we'll have a Q&A portion at the end of the panel. So folks in the audience will be able to submit questions to be read and answered by the panel.
Amazing. I love that.
Wonderful.
Sorry. I just part of the things, part of the rise of fascism is lack of information. And I love that you're providing a place that's going to provide accurate information and proactive information. We've been fortunate enough to talk with a lot of elected officials, and the thing behind them is what you had said is like, how do we be proactive as opposed to reactionary, which I think is key.
Exactly. And, we're really hoping that this panel is not only informative for the community, but also idea generating for the panelists. We are getting together some really, significant people doing some really great work. And hopefully through that discussion with one another, they have more ideas leaving the panel than they came in with.
I love it. It's all about community. But then after the panel, there's a celebration of community as well, right?
Yes. So after the panel, we're going to have a dinner that will be free. This entire event is completely free. We'll have dinner, and then we are moving to a dance party hosted by the Putopia Collective. So that's how we're going to end our night, 7 to 9, with a dance party.
Fun.
I know, again.
Who doesn't love a dance party?
Well, and also, again, what can be more revolutionary in a time right now when people just want to be oppressed and, like you said, be feared and have paranoia, as opposed to just being joyful and celebration in community with who we are as human beings, that we exist. It's fabulous.
Exactly.
I love this idea. So how can folks participate? It's also in the Bramble Arts Loft, which is such a beautiful space.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we've been really fortunate that they are wonderful neighbors, and we've hosted a ton of events at Bramble, so we're really happy to bring this event to Bramble. Yeah, so folks can find us on Instagram at Shy Therapy Collective, and there you'll find links to our Eventbrite, info on all the panelists, and just our current happenings. So I would suggest that's the place to check us out.
Yeah, and do you have any idea of the pre-registration numbers that what we're talking about right now, or we're just hoping for a ton of people?
We're hoping for a ton of people. Currently, right now, I think for the town hall, we have about 90 RSVPs.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So we're hoping for a really great turnout.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be an absolute wonderful sort of event. And again, a celebration because it's the Transgender Day of Visibility. You know, it is a happy day. It is an empowering day to acknowledge our trans and non-binary siblings who are with us and to lift and raise their voices. So, and again, reminder that being an ally is a verb. So everybody take some action. Do something. Go out there and do something. So share our voice and move your body. Kicks off at 4:00 at the Bramble Arts Loft at Andersonville. For more info on the event, you can go to Instagram at Shy Therapy Collective to find out there. Or if you're old school like me and just want to do a little laptop action, you can go to ChicagoTherapyCollective.org, and you can click through and register for all of the incredible events. Silas Leslie, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for the work that you and Chicago Therapy Collective does to just take care of our community and to lift us up, and have a fabulous event tomorrow.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you having us on the show.
Of course, the door is always open. So if you ever want to chat about something, just send up a flare. We'll come running.
Sounds great.
All right. Silas Leslie. Hey, we've got to take a quick break. And when we come back, it is the second hour of Out Chicago right here on WCPT.
I'm Molly McCormick.
And I'm Danny Parpan.
And we're an indie folk group called The Fruit Flies.
Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, rolling along here. Looks like the sun is trying to peek out. I ran outside to get some water.
Oh, you did?
Well, not outside. I went to go get the water, and there was a window. I'm like, window. Sun.
Beautiful.
Hope.
We love the sun.
There we are. We do. We love the sun.
Sunny Sunday afternoon.
Sunny Sunday afternoon.
That's a play I'm seeing on Wednesday. Sunny afternoon.
Oh, the Kinks thing.
Yes.
I know that opened up at Chicago Shakespeare.
It opened up Friday. I had a conflict because of the art opening.
I know. I was in rehearsal. I was so bummed.
I am going on Wednesday because I'm a big Kinks fan, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
A friend of mine went to go see a preview.
Yeah.
Which primarily, she's like, it's so much fun. But she's like, I felt really bad because it was a Wednesday, I think Wednesday matinee. And
not very well attended.
No, just not very young attended. So when they're like,
and they're like, the Kinks.
I was like, the Kinks, come on, let's go, get on your feet. And like little pops of young people were on their feet, but everybody else was going to so it's like, all right. But it looks fantastic. Yeah. I love that. Hey, and also this hour, we've got a fun hour coming up. As we have been saying, just a reminder, folks, today at 1:00, there's a protest and march for Trans Day of Visibility down at Federal Plaza. It starts at 1:00. It's sponsored by Trans Up Front Illinois and Indivisible Chicago. We are going to have a friend of the show is going to be attending there because we're on the air until 1:00. And we're going to be hopefully getting some person on the street sort of reaction and vibe and just a personal testimony as to why it's important to be out there and sharing our voices right now. And also, what's really great too about sharing voices. Sorry, my whole thing is just kind of a wackadoodle. Steppenwolf's Lookout series celebrates the return of its curatorial residency program. I love the Lookout series. It's such a cool. It's in the 1700 space in Steppenwolf. Yeah. This intimate venue, and you get to see some of the most interesting and like hot artists in this great venue, and celebrated drag artist and self-proclaimed Bollywood Barbie, Abhijit, is one of the creative forces behind Dream Devis, a queer celebration of the feminine archetype in Indian cinema and an exploration of worshipping and being worshipped. And joining us now is none other than Abhijit. Welcome to the show.
Hi there, how are you doing?
We are doing great. How are you doing? Congratulations.
I'm so good. Thank you so much. I'm very excited for this to premiere next week.
I know. I'm so very excited because you have Bollywood, you have drag, two things I love coming together. How did Dream Devies come about?
Yeah, so me and I have a tight group of South Asian friends in Chicago, and the group was sitting together, and I just got in the email being offered like a curatorial residency at Steppenwolf, and I looked around the room and I was like, what if we did something together? Like, we all love watching movies together. We all have like our own unique experiences to these movies, to these heroines, to these women as like queer and trans people. What if we did something that like explored that and, like really let us like come together and, show our perspective of these films. And it kind of just like snowballed from there and turned into Dream Devies. We're super excited for it. It's some of like our favorite actresses through our lens and our relationship to them. Something that we've been kind of talking about is like a byline to it. This is like, it's a love letter to the women in these movies and the women that they've given birth to, which is us.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah, you were just sitting there, and the way you just described, like, I got an email and I looked around and saw my people. Like, how wonderful to have a community of creative folks just to be like, hey, you want to do this? Like, let's do it. And just to create something is, again, I'm going to keep showing my gay theater roots. I keep going back to Rent, but the one line, the opposite of war isn't peace, it's creation. And there's something really great about creating something right now. What was your process as you were, trying to figure out exactly what you wanted to say with Dream Devies?
Yeah, so one of my really close friends, Leha, who's my main collaborator on this, I like to call her a Bollywood encyclopedia because if there's a movie or a music video, she's seen it and she knows the exact timestamps that you're thinking of. So we were talking through this, and we kind of developed this whole like a through line for it, where we start from like the ingenue, explore the rule breaker, the mother, the vamp, the superhumans, and it's kind of just like taking these like tropes that you'll see across Indian cinema and really like digging deep into like why they were attractive to us as children and what they mean to us now as adults.
Abhijit, now for those that are not as schooled on Bollywood, what films would you recommend for people to check out to give them a nice understanding and appreciation?
Yeah, so it's a whole world of cinema, a whole world of different languages. Like my movie right now that I would recommend people watch is Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani. It's just a big Bollywood movie, colorful videos, large costumes, beautiful sets. It's just like fully immersive. But if you really want a taste of like Indian cinema spanning across from like north to south, east to west, you should come to Dream Devies.
Okay,
yes,
there you go.
100%.
Cover it all right there.
So, it's so funny just listening to, you're talking about like what was so appealing about these women, and it makes me think of, I'm totally throwing my husband under the bus right here and revealing a secret. He, as a child, we grew up in the 70s, and as a child, there was disaster movies, like Towering Inferno and Poseidon Adventure and all this stuff. He used to go into his mom's closet, get her fancy like cocktail dresses, and then go lay on her bed and hold on to the brass railing like he was in the Poseidon upside down, and be a lady in peril. Like that was one of his, like he loved to do that, just be dressed up in this fabulous dress, pretending he was upside down in a boat. What was it for you that was so appealing to these women?
Yeah, and I think it's like something that like I feel like a lot of queer children have, right? Like where we see like women in cinema as like something that's like so like it's so appealing because they're always like the crux of a story, and it's something that like we kind of see in ourselves, like we, whether we know it or not at the time, like we know that we're like slightly different from other people. We know that like we imagine ourselves as like main characters, which, for better or worse, is like how I am right now too. And we kind of place ourselves into these archetypes. Like we see ourselves as the ingenue. We see ourselves as like the vamp. Like there's a reason why like we love these big moments in cinema across the world. And like you mentioned, like I've raided my mom's closet as a child very happily to like recreate moments that I enjoyed in a movie.
Right? Yeah,
and I feel like that's such a universal experience.
Yeah, I think it is, especially for little gay boys. Sorry.
So, I get the feeling that drag culture in India, in South Asia, is differently accepted than it is here in the United States. Is that true, or what do you notice? What's the differences in the two cultures?
Yeah. So it's definitely a very different landscape. India more recently has had an extremely budding nightlife scene that's like filled with drag as well. It's popular in a lot of really big cities, and it's coming up, and it's a complete force to be reckoned with on its own over there. I feel like drag and nightlife in the U.S. and in the West has like a very very close ties to like queer liberation. And I think it's like for me, it's like looking at both of those aspects. Like I have a cultural connection to something. I have like a connection to my hometown. And then while in Chicago and in the U.S., there's like also there's such a political force attached to it. Like, it's about having a platform and a voice too, and what you do to express with that.
Mm-hmm. How did you get into what was your entree into the drag world?
Other than your mother's closet.
Right.
Well, that was definitely the early start to it. But I first saw live drag in Chicago. Me and my drag sister, Jay for Pay, we just went out to the club. We saw an amateur performance and looked at each other and said, should we do this next week? And it kind of just started from there. And for me, it was definitely a journey. I'm not afraid to admit that it was a couple of years of being very how to put it politely, not beautiful until one day I was.
A lot of experimentation.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So you had to find your drag persona. Well, maybe I'm putting words into it. Did you find like a drag persona that has come out, or was that the evolution along with the look? Because I know like beating out a mug is a hard thing to do, and it takes practice and time, but also just cultivating the persona. Mm-hmm. What was that?
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, like, my drag persona is just like an amplified and larger version of who I am. It's definitely like way more louder and expressive and extroverted. And I think that it's just like a really fun channel to express that side of me too.
I'm fascinated by drag. I would love to do drag, but I am not a pretty lady.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I look like a Slavic Betty Page. It's what happens. I'm a big guy.
It's the eye of the beholder.
That is true. That is true. Thank you so much.
Yes, that's true.
But you have several beautiful collaborators that are working with you, and the show Dream Devies is being touted is like a one-of-a-kind theatrical drag spectacle. How did you work with your community, your people? That's how, whenever I describe my time, like with About Face Theater, I'm like, these are my people. It's my creative family. How did you work? Like, what was your process to come together to create this show?
Yeah, so like I was saying, the first day when I got the email, we just all happened to be together. And I looked around the room and I was like, we have such a diverse skill set. Like, in the room there were 3 drag performers, there was a writer, there was a singer, and there was a DJ. And I looked around and I was like, this is all you need to put together a show.
Yeah.
And we kind of just played to everyone's strengths. So like, DJ Ria is like creating like our soundscape for the thing. We have Shruti Kanan, who's a Carnatic singer, and she's going to be singing live during the show as the archetype of the nightingale, the playback singer in Bollywood. We have Masala and Gulabi Sapphire, who are both drag queens, and they'll be taking on various roles with me. And then my friend Leha, who is a writer, has kind of like built out this script in each of the archetype stories.
I'm so excited. Now, Talk to me about. Let's talk about looks, because that's one thing that is very challenging, I think, for the drag world. Like, with the increased popularity with Drag Race, RuPaul's Drag Race and all that stuff. Like, the expectations are high. How did you work with a designer, or are you like a true drag spirit? Like, I will put together my own look. I will create something. Like, let's talk fashions. What you gonna look like? I'm so excited.
Yeah. So if you think the pressure to look good because of RuPaul's Drag Race is high, the pressure to look good because of Bollywood is even higher.
I know. Oh gosh.
Get that right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so luckily we're doing a mix of where we're pulling from our wardrobe, we're working ourselves to create some new costumes. We're working with a lot of different collaborators who are making costumes for the show, and we just heard back from a small business in the Chicago suburbs that's willing to rent us some Indian bridal wear to wear during the show.
Fabulous. That's amazing. So what do you hope folks take away after they come and they've experienced Dream Debbie's that runs April 4th through the 13th at Steppenwolf?
I think I'm really excited for people to get either reacclimated to Bollywood from a queer perspective, or just get their first taste of that genre and that language, and just join us, because what we're trying to do here is we want to showcase our love of these women in a universal way, and I'm sure that anyone, even if they've never watched international cinema, will relate to these tropes, to these women, and why we worship them, and what it means to be worshipped as performers on a stage.
Well, I cannot wait to show up and worship all of you at Dream Debbie's, curated by Abhijit. It runs April 4th through the 13th at Steppenwolf 1700 Theater. For more information and for tickets, go to steppenwolf.org. Abhijit, thank you so much for joining us today, and break legs as you are heading towards this beautiful Bollywood opening.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, we've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, there is more Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'm Honey West. Welcome to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along. We've been talking about this all show, reminding folks that tomorrow is Trans Day of Visibility. And today, in less than an hour, Trans Upfront Illinois, in partnership with Indivisible Chicago, is hosting a protest and march at Federal Plaza downtown. They are hoping for huge crowds down there. And I decided to reach out to a friend of mine who I knew was going to be going down there to protest, to kind of give us an eyewitness account of the crowds and spirits. So joining us on the phone is Dina. Dina, welcome to the show.
How are you?
I am doing well. Just to let the listeners know that we are using a pseudonym, just to be extra careful for safety reasons. What's going on there? So Dina, first of all, thank you for getting there a little bit early. I know you were planning on arriving a little later. Can you see? Are people showing up? What's going on?
Yes, I am traditionally a very late person, so this is new for me, but I get to see what it looks like before things really start happening, and really the diehards are here already. I see several tents set up. There are, I would say, maybe 100 people here. It's not raining anymore, so it's puddly.
Right.
And then they've got about 30 people in safety vests who are, here to help maintain a pleasant and peaceful environment for us. There's a police car parked right here with 2 female police officers inside, and the car is emblazoned with the LGBTQ+ flag on both sides and on the top.
Oh, all right.
It's painted on there.
Wow.
It's not going to be taken off later.
It is there.
That's awesome. That's great to hear.
Yeah, and it's I had to take a picture. That seemed like a great step in the right direction. And people are excited. There's an energy here, and I can't wait for my family to come down and join me. They will be late because that's what we do.
That is how you roll. That's indeed how you roll, and I love it. Can you, if you would be so generous, can you share with our audience why you are there personally?
Sure. I have a trans teen. And though I would have been here anyway, right. Certainly the climate right now, I am showing up for everything. I'm activated. I'm energized. This is my 5th rally / march for various reasons. And there's just been sort of a confluence between what's happening in my family and what's happening in this country. And this is suddenly my, part to full-time job. I can't not be here. I will say that to give you an idea of what we're going through, we are patients at Lurie's gender care program, and we were waiting in the waiting room to meet our doctor at the exact hour that Chase Strangio was giving oral arguments about our right to be sitting in the waiting room of Lurie Children's Center. Wow. So it all feels very, very sharp and pointed and personal to me. And it seems like, some of our reps nationwide aren't standing up for us. So I need to be here, myself. And there's a strong dose of mama energy going into this. But frankly, I would be here regardless because there's so much at stake for my family. And so that is why I'm here.
Does your child feel this heightened level of fright and fear over what's going on? Or have you been able to kind of protect them from what's happening in the world a little bit?
It's a very delicate balance. I will say that I am here early because I am the most interested in being here. My kid is 14. She doesn't, she wants to be a 14-year-old. She wants to be on a computer playing computer games. She hasn't come to all of these with me. She did come to the one at Lurie and my husband as well. And she's coming down here. And I think we've struck a balance of keeping her feeling just like a teenager. I was not political when I was 14, and I don't think anyone should have to be involved in this kind of stuff when they're 14. They have other things to worry about. But I do want her to know what it looks like to speak up for yourself, to fight for yourself, to raise your voice. If I can teach her any lesson, I want this one to be the one. I don't think she's getting it right now. But I think she will.
14.
Yeah. And how's her experience in school been for her? Is she getting the support she needs there? Or,
we have felt very supported at school. We had to, we have a gender plan at school. She just has, normal kid problems at school. Nothing is particularly because she is trans, as far as we can tell. It's just hard being 14 and being in high school. But I can say that we have never been more appreciative to be living in this state at this time. Yeah. I have a new love for my hometown.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel the same way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, and in an earlier conversation that we had, in talking about your child in terms of the activism and you take some sort of comfort in the fact that she doesn't want to show up. Yeah. Clearly she feels safe, which I say, kudos to you parents. That is, kudos,
Yeah, for sure. I don't want her to have to be, a political firebrand right now.
Right.
It's actually not even in her nature. So what she is doing, showing up, seems to be showing up. This is so odd, but it seems like she's showing up in support of me. Because this is something
I believe it.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have to say, I listened to a podcast. I don't remember which one it was, but J.B. Pritzker was speaking, and he was saying that when he was young, people are like, he's a billionaire. What does he care about, what people are going through? And he expressed that, his mother was very political and was always out doing these kind of things. And though he didn't realize it at the time, it sunk in. My eyes lit up because I felt like, okay, so this may not be making waves now, but somewhere in her DNA, she's, this is all accumulated knowledge that she can use later when she needs to do it herself.
Well, of course it is. And I think being a role model is such an incredibly and hard job to do. Yeah. I busted out my theater nerdness earlier in the show to talk about, using the Greek chorus as kind of like a metaphor of what's going on. Like the Greek chorus is made up of a group of individuals who have a common goal. And what does it take to move you to action, to move out into the streets? Yeah. And it's very clear as to what's going on. How are you taking care of you when right now, there's so much going on? How are you and your family taking care of yourself?
That is a great question. I wish I had the answer that I take a lot of spa days, right. But I've never been a spa person. I think for me, honestly, my family, I am the one who is on fire right now. Mm-hmm. And it is a matter of personality. My husband is supportive, but not quite as lit up as I am, and my kid as well. So it's looking around. Even friends, here's what I have done. It feels lonely out here sometimes to keep showing up when your friends are not. And I'm not trying, I try to not judge, mm-hmm. but I made the decision to just be loud and always be loud and tell my friends where I'm going and why I'm doing it, and inviting them to each and every march and posting about it. And so I'm becoming the annoying, social media poster that shares upcoming marches and pictures of it, because I will tell you that I was not always this way, but I had another friend. We weren't even close, but we were, friends from our work, and she was always doing this. And one day I was like, I feel guilty. I feel like I'm not doing enough. And it's because I saw this friend doing it. Mm-hmm. So then I started doing it, and now I'm that person. And just the other day, a friend of mine said, it's you. You're the reason I've started doing this.
Yes, see?
And good, yeah.
So for the price of being annoying on social media, I think it's worth it. I just want people to maybe, if it's guilt or whatever that gets them going, so be it. But we need to have people out here for all of the reasons that we're in right now. Yeah. Trans at the top and everything else, people need to start showing up. So that is my self-care. Let your friends be your friends. Try not to take it personally. But I'm going to allow myself to be the loud, screaming, raging person so that other people might join in. And so far, one down. 20 to go.
Well, but that is a huge thing, because, everybody talks about things are not normal. This is not normal. And when things are not normal and people don't show up, that makes not normal. Yeah. And that's not good. And like I said, there have been protests all across the country, and some of them have been large, some of them have been small, a couple of dozen, but it's showing other people that they are not alone. There are people out there who are feeling just as scared and angry and full of rage and hopeful, and a promise that things can be done, that things can change. And think that right there, don't ever discount your anger. Never discount your anger. Never discount your rage, because that will help motivate other people. Again, what is it going to take for you to leave your house to go stand up with this chorus of people to stand up for a better vision of our country? And I applaud you for that. We privately have had conversations like, why aren't people just screaming all of the time?
I don't know. They don't know where to start. There's so much.
Right. But then what you do is then you pick one.
Yes.
You pick one issue. And if it's because my friend Dina and her family are going through some really hard stuff right now, then I will show up, or I will show up in the ways that I can show up, you know, and activism looks different for every person.
That's right. And
for you, Dina, in this moment, it is for you showing up and the importance of that and dragging your family along with you. I'm just filled with pride of you, you know, and it's hard.
Right back at you, my friend. You are also projecting your voice to thousands upon thousands right now. So you are also doing the good work.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. And, you know, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm getting all teary over here now.
Emotional.
I cry on the radio all the time.
Dina. You know how he gets.
It's awful.
But it's for a good cause, that emotion.
It is. So, are there can you see any fun signs right now? Because that's half the fun of going to a protest.
Well, there are a couple people that as soon as I am off with you, I'm going to go take their picture, because there is some costuming that is photo-worthy for sure. Beautiful, beautiful people wearing extravagant things. The signs are rolling in. I would say the crowd is just about doubled now.
Oh, of course, it was early when we decided to chat, so I know the crowd is slowly building.
And is it a rally or a march? Are you marching somewhere, or are you just standing around the Federal Plaza?
I just checked the website before coming out to see if there were any weather conditions that they were talking about, and it looks like it's a rally that should turn into a march.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, the last time I did one of these, it wasn't for trans rights. I don't even remember which one it was. It was a month ago, and already that seems like 10 years ago. But I didn't know there was a march afterwards, and so I arrived late, of course, and I was like, oh, it's finishing up. So I started walking, and I realized that I was walking amongst like 20 people and 30 people and 50 people, and I realized I was then a part of a march.
Oh, look at that.
And we ended up back at Trump Tower. And the guy there said, does anyone have anything to say? And I had this feeling in my gut, like, I have said I'm going to speak up. This man just asked if you have anything to say. Speak up. So I grabbed the bullhorn, and I got up on the platform, and I started saying, I am here for all of my trans brothers and sisters and family who, need our voices right now. And I am not going to shut up until that monster, pointing at the building, is, out of office. And it was the first moment of my okay, Leslie, you said that you were going to do this. Go ahead and do it. And so I did it.
Amen. Good for you.
I haven't stopped.
Well, please don't. And again, do not apologize for your rage. Do not apologize for your anger. And thank you for keeping space for folks who are trying to figure out what they can do with their rage and anger. That's one of the most challenging things I think that we are facing right now. It's like there's so much at stake, and it's like, okay, everybody in their own time. But as you were saying, you are modeling behavior that your teenager, who although is dealing with just regular teen stuff like math tests and friend groups and all that, and TV shows and whatever, they are through osmosis and through just and persistence, you're making a change. So Dina, thank you for what you do. Thank you for taking time out today to to join us. And much love to you and your family. And again, deep admiration for what you are doing today.
Okay. And the same to both of you for, spreading the word. And thanks for having me on. And tell everyone to come on down. It's going to be great.
I know. Well, go take pictures and send them to me.
Stay strong. Stay strong, Dina. We appreciate you. Thank you.
And again, you got 40 minutes before it kicks off. So 1 o'clock at Federal Plaza. Go out there. What's it going to take to get you to leave your house? Ask that question.
It's easy. It's fun.
It's easy. It's fun. And it's not raining. Great. So even better. Yeah. Dina, thank you again for joining us. And happy Trans Day of Visibility, a day of celebration.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
All right, bye. We've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Hi, this is Renee Taylor. You're listening to Out Chicago. WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, Donna Miller.
Yes.
Roll along. I feel very invigorated right now.
Okay, good. We like that.
Just in terms of so there are people out there taking action. Yes. There are people out there modeling behavior for their kids and their friends. There are people living their values. Mm-hmm. That is the big thing that I keep coming back to. If you want to make a change and things seem too big right now, start small. Live your values. Live your example.
Don't be afraid to live your values.
Don't be afraid to live your values. And I think that is a huge, huge, huge thing.
I agree.
I'm loving it. And again, just a reminder, in about 20 minutes down at Federal Plaza, there is a march and rally for Transgender Day of Visibility, which takes place tomorrow. So if you want to head on down there, even our friend Dina, admitted she usually gets there late.
She's warming it up, baby.
But she's there. Mm-hmm. She's there, and she just sent me some pictures. They're real great.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And also, just a reminder that tomorrow, which is Transgender Day of Visibility, Chicago Therapy Collective is hosting an event, Share Your Voice and Move Your Body. It's at the Bramble Arts Loft in Andersonville, which if you haven't been there.
Yeah, I haven't.
Oh, it's a new space. It's so great.
I hadn't heard of it even.
It's so great. It's it's on Clark, right across from the Jules.
Okay,
next to the new understudy cafe that's there. It's turning into this cute, great little art thing.
It's Greek to You is there too, isn't it?
It's a little bit further. The Bramble Arts Loft is going to be a little bit further north of there.
Got it.
But go check it out. There's going to be a town hall with elected officials. If these are issues that you find that are very important to you, they'll be doing that. I believe that was from 5 to 7. Oh my gosh! Go to ChicagoTherapyCollective.org to check out the whole thing. All the info is down there. But we're going to have, I believe Representative Kelly Cassidy is there. Precious Brady Davis is there, who is the water commissioner, first out trans woman of color elected to an office. I believe is going to be there as well. There are going to be elected officials who are going to be speaking on things. If you just want to, that's something you can do.
Yeah, it kicks off at 4 p.m.
There's the thing, but I'm not sure when the town hall is.
Yeah.
But there's a thing. It starts at 4. But again, if you too are feeling overwhelmed and paranoid and, whatever it is, there are some small steps and there's always power in community.
Yes, there is
power in community. Look, I'm a big fan of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Really? I didn't know
that. What? I will say this season I've been kind of meh. But I watched the latest episode that came out, so I know there won't be spoilers. And oddly enough, Ellen Miller, it made me think of you.
Oh, really?
Because of your love of Survivor.
Yes.
And I, too, was a big Survivor fan. I kind of fell off that bandwagon.
Mm-hmm. We're watching.
I know, but how many seasons are we in? 47 or whatever?
A 48th episode.
Is it 48th?
48th season.
Wow. I made it through about 12, I think. And then I started... But anyway, okay, so the episode in Survivor that always gets me is the reunited with a loved one.
Yeah, they don't do it as much as they used to.
They don't?
They do it differently.
Oh, okay.
They used to have the loved ones come. Now they've gotten cheap. They have them open letters mostly.
Oh, well, they've done the letters
thing. But they used to have them come,
But they would come. I know. I remember it.
Drawing an inauguration.
What is happening right here? There is a sound.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. That was exciting.
That was exciting.
No.
That was my computer. I'm sorry.
There was the nice lady. Yes. I'm like, where is she coming from?
I called up the rally for next week that I want to talk about later. Another rally.
I just didn't know if that was your loved one that was chiming in there.
Anyway,
but there was always a moment
in the show
back early on that they loved ones. There would be a reunited kind of moment, and it was always
we cried every time.
Every time we
like
cried. A baby.
Me too. Kathy and I.
So. They're down to the final 5 right now in RuPaul's Drag Race, and they had a reunited with either their mom or their dad.
Wow, that's special.
Yeah. And then it was the whole... And the thing was really fun because it was like, okay, you've got a new drag newbie. You have to make over your parent into your drag daughter, like your drag family.
Wow, that's a new wrinkle.
I know, which was like, it was great. They usually do some sort of makeover challenge, but 2 out of the 5, their dads showed up, which crushed me just as a moment. But it was really... And RuPaul was kind of leaning a little heavy into it, but you know what? I'll give this. She can do it. It really is. It was a moment to show how parents support their children, how they're there for them. And there were some people who there were a couple of family members that they had kind of a rocky sort of relationship. There is one of the final 5. Her name is Lexi Love, who is trans, who was reunited with her, her mother showed up. And it was one of the first times that her mom used the right pronouns. Aww. And Lexi was a mess. I was a mess on the couch. You know, it was just like, she's like, no, she's been through a lot. And we were trying to, it really was this moment of and to show, it was a public showing of parents supporting their children. Yes. Hands down. You know, the 2 dads that showed up, one of them had kind of been in and out of prison and was there. Got into drag, looked amazing. She was flawless. Yeah, because it was Anya Nerve and None Ya Business. Yeah, was her father's new drag name. None Ya Business.
None Ya Business.
But it was a moment that it was Jerry and I were on the couch just
sobbing.
Just tears going this is what's going on. It was just really, really great. And I think that is the thing that they found those moments for what does it take to get them to come out the front door. And just being the simple act of showing up on a show. I mean, I guess it's not so simple because you had to fly to LA. I don't know. But just of showing up for your kid to be a part of what they do for a living.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You know, it was just really, really cool.
Nice
so even if you're not a big Drag Race fan, I would, if you can, watch the most recent episode with the final 5.
You will be emotional over it.
It would be really great.
Yes.
Just because again, it just comes down to look at what these parents have raised, these creative, just interesting human beings. And just being there to show unconditional love and support. So
it's a beautiful thing.
There we are. Yes.
Yeah, it's not a reality show, but I don't watch that much network TV. And of course, we have here in Chicago the Dick Wolf, Chicago, Mad Chicago,
soon to be Chicago Neighborhood Watch, the Mr. Jones Chronicles.
But yes, I happened onto a Chicago Med that I just kind of got sucked in on, and I recorded it and watched it later. And I don't watch the show. I don't know who the characters are. I don't know the storyline. But there was they have 3 concurrent storylines of a young kid, 12-year-old boy, who was bulimic. They realized he was, throwing up, and it turns out that they get to the bottom of it. It's because he was different, and it turns out he felt like he was gay, and they kind of turned the tables because the dad was kind of a tough guy, and the mother. It turned out that the mother was the one that was not accepting.
Bullying.
That was not accepting it. And, she knew he was doing this, but, he said he was trying to make himself well by doing it. But the father, all of a sudden, he stands up and he says, I'm not going in. He stood up for his son. And I started, I'm welling up. I'm welling up to see the father. Same kind of a thing. To see, because you don't see it all the time. You see it sometimes. The mother is sometimes quicker to come to the understanding of the love of their child above all.
Right.
And sometimes the dads are a little tougher, but they turn the tables. And of course, I was crying at that. But
we're just a mess.
We're a mess. But not there is some, talking about TV, White Lotus.
Girl, look, I don't know who these people are out there who's like, I don't like this season. This season's not as good. I'm like, you are all cuckoo pants people.
There's I'm not going to totally spoil, but it's out there. There has been some incest, some gay incest.
Right.
A topic that apparently other HBO shows, I don't watch it, but Game of Thrones apparently had mother-son incest.
No. It was brother and sister on.
Brother and sister.
And they had a child.
Yeah. So that doesn't seem to bother people as much as gay incest, as from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
But I am just, tonight is the second to the last episode.
Oh, how did
I am
this?
the first, everybody goes, well, I watched the first two and I really, you know what? You have to set the table. You have to set the stage. You have to set the characters.
Yeah, but there's still other characters that are from the first two.
Yeah.
That are in it. I'm like, it is so good this season. I think
loving
it is
this
great.
season. I'm loving it.
I'm loving this season. I'm loving that everybody is falling in love with Parker Posey all over again.
And who would have thought that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver's son? I had no idea he was such a great actor. I think he's doing a wonderful job.
Yeah. I think he's basically playing himself, though.
Well, you know what? I don't know if I said this on the air or said it to somebody the other day, but I think he is like looking at the Donald Trump Jr. kind of a guy. When you think about the white privilege. I mean, yes, he does have white privilege, but to be able to act it in the way that he's doing it, I think he's definitely drawing from. We know how his parents feel politically. Even though his dad was a Republican, his dad cannot stand Donald Trump.
Right.
And his mother's a lifelong Democrat. So I'm just enjoying. I'm enjoying all the performances.
Everybody
single
on
one.
that freaking show, and let's just be honest. There's been a very flawed approach to all of the queer characters that have been on all of the seasons of White Lotus. Look at the first one. The hotel manager was a drug addict and screwing everybody. Was, but so it's okay, that's fine. We don't need every representation. Doesn't need to be we're taken to the streets or look at us, we're the golden child or whatever. And I love that it's a little messy and weird and it's so soapy. It's nothing but tropes. It's great. There's basically the 7 different kinds of characters that are on the show. The egotistical, privileged white guy, the eccentric cuckoo lady, which is Parker Posey, there are all these sorts of different vibes that happen, which is great. And which is why people like it, because it's something familiar and it's in beautiful, beautiful Thailand.
Oh, the scenery is great.
It's gorgeous.
And, I've been, the last couple of weeks on the Jimmy Kimmel show, he's had so many of the actors that are in the show on. And they just love Mike White. They just love him. I mean, they all, you hear actors talk about what they're doing. They're always out, promote. But these people, they were 7 months together in Thailand filming this.
Of course you're going to fall in love with everybody. You have no choice, And also, if you want to make a pleasant experience, you got to hang out there. I would have loved to have done that job. Could you imagine?
Sure. Oh no, and they love their time there. They love each other. They love him. So, of course, they're going to come out with some fabulous work. So, second to the last episode tonight.
Yeah, and dropped. Chicago's Carrie Coon. She's a mess. She's a mess.
I love it.
I know. I love watching her on all of the interviews because everyone's like, I'm getting so much buzz and people are blah, blah, blah. She's like, nobody recognizes me and it's great. She's like, she's been on the Golden Age. Is that the Gilded Age? Another HBO show. She's kind of now an HBO darling.
I guess.
She's also, as we know, Steppenwolf ensemble member.
Married to Tracy Letts. Has 2 children.
She's great. And she's like, no, but it's great. I'm still the lady in sweatpants at the grocery store, which is amazing.
Yeah, she's got that kind of look. But there's a lot. There's a lot there. It's just a little something for everybody.
It is a little something for everybody.
Also, I wanted to promote. I think there's still tickets available. I'm going to the AIDS Foundation edition of Chicago 40th Anniversary Gala. This Saturday night. We're invited guests of some of some friends of ours, and which is a really cool thing. We're looking forward to doing that. 40 years of great work. They do the chocolate, the
World of Chocolate.
World of Chocolate, but this is the 40th. So they're doing the gala. So I'll help report back to you about the gala.
And you wanted to talk about the rally that's coming up on the 5th?
Yeah, the on the 5th, the Hands Off protest all over the country. Hands off our, the things that are important to us. It's an initiative dubbed Hands Off. It's the Indivisible movement, which is sponsoring it. It's a progressive movement. It's a nationwide protest spearheaded by a movement to, it's an answer to the response to the cuts that have been promoted by the Trump administration and DOJ. Cutting all these important areas, everything from our health to our Social Security to our, there's no end to it. And, you mentioned earlier about the South, about the red states. Remember, the red states take advantage more of the programs that the blue states pay the most for because of this nature of blue states having large cities and large amounts of tax revenue and the economy. And those are the people that get the most benefit. And those are the people that voted against their own best interests that are... and people saying, I can't wait for them to get, I don't wish ill on people. I don't wish a family that was counting on food, help and social, Medicaid and all the things that are important to suffer. But it is going to be a lesson that we are going to learn as America. This is the results of people not voting and people not paying attention to who they voted for.
So how can people find out more info about these rallies that are happening across the country on the 5th?
Good question. I would say Google it. I know I don't really.
Google it.
Google it, baby. Let's see. There's, protests all over. I've got a whole list here all over the country.
Go ahead and Google and see what's going on for April 5th when you're out there.
I just did the general, but as far as the Chicago, I don't know.
Well, it's across a bit. Is there an organization? You just said there's a general.
Indivisible, I think.
Indivisible. So go to indivisible.org, I believe, and go and check out what's going on there. And also, Ellen Miller, you got a birthday coming on.
I do.
Are you doing anything fun?
I'm going to dinner somewhere nice with a couple of friends.
That's great.
Yeah.
Another celebration.
Another celebration.
A celebration and a celebration of queer joy, because you'll be happy.
I will be very happy.
Sure, queer.
Sort of, it's a weird birthday. It's a sexual position birthday.
74. All right, great. So, and on that note, that's going to bring us to the end of another exciting episode. I want to thank all of our guests. Silas Leslie from Chicago Therapy Collective. Make sure you go to their website to find out about the TDOV Day tomorrow. And Abhijit. Make sure you check out Dream Devies at Steppenwolf. Paul, thank you so much for being in here. It was great to see you. You're amazing. There we are. Dylan's back there doing whatever he does. There we are. Ellen Miller, an early happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Scott. Much appreciated.
There we are. Have a wonderful week. And I'm Scott Duff. And until next week, stay proud.